Oh, I'm going to tell you this story, and every time I even think of it, it makes me pause because I can feel it like it happened yesterday. We had just come off one of the best seasons we had ever had in this franchise history. Not the one with confetti falling or rings on our fingers, but close. Close enough that the city was still alive with it. Close enough that Sundays meant something and Mondays still echoed with everything our men had done on that field. They gave everything. The guys all played their positions and connected so well as a team. We got together more often after games in the players' parking lot, bonding as teammates and as families. Our wins were huge that season, and if it wasn't for other teams doing well at the same time, I know if we would have made it to the big game, we would have come out victorious. Even though the season did not end how we wanted, everyone was still able to hold their heads up high, knowing that they played their best and that there was still hope to build and come back even better for the next season. The off season meant we got our gladiators back, back in our homes, back in our beds, back in our everyday lives 7 days a week. Even if it was for just a short amount of time, it was time built on quality, not quantity. The noise got quieter, the world got smaller. And that year, my world was getting softer too. I was pregnant with our second child. Our son was still little, still needing his dad in that full, physical, playful way little boys do. And I was carrying our daughter. So in my mind, that off season already felt like something sacred, something special. More time, more love, and more family. And I was not the only one. And that is something people do not always see from the outside, the rhythm of this life. It creates its own timing. Babies are often conceived right after camp, which means late spring, early summer babies are born, or they are conceived after the season, so late fall, early winter babies are born. Either way, there are often multiple wives pregnant at the same time, so that creates another type of sisterhood bond. That year, several of us were pregnant at the same time. Different relationships, different backgrounds, but the same season. It was comforting in many ways since many of us lived far from family and close friends. Having other women living under the same circumstances, pregnant at the same time, gives you a sense of family and support because we have the same insurance, which is great, by the way. But many of us see the same OBGYN and often are delivering in the same hospitals, sometimes in the rooms right next door to each other. One of those women was Nia. And I really want to be careful here because Nia cannot tell her own story. So what you are hearing is not her voice, it is mine. And it is only a lens, my lens, a limited one. Nia was a local woman, raised right here in the same city that filled those stands every Sunday. She was not a wife in title, not officially part of that circle, but pregnancy has a way of changing that. Because when you are carrying a gladiator's child, you are tied to that world, whether there is a ring or not. We were not close, but we were connected. Same team, same season, same quiet preparation for new life. She was carrying a baby boy, and I was carrying a baby girl. Behind all that noise, all that violence, all that performance during the season, there we were, women creating life. And then one night, everything broke. Not with a call, not with a warning, but the way people used to find out before everything lived in your phone. Now news travels through social media instantly, constantly. But back then, it came through the television. But when you live in a city with a professional team of gladiators where everything is connected, news like that doesn't move slowly. It breaks fast. It finds you almost as soon as it happens. And what we didn't know, sitting there in our home, in our quiet, in our pregnancies, was that we were not just hearing a story, we were being pulled into one. The beginning of a tragic off season. One that would not just live in headlines, but in homes, in marriages, in the minds of the men in that locker room, and in the bodies of women carrying life at the exact same time death was entering our world. A story that would change how we felt about safety, about proximity, about who people really are, and a story that has to be told carefully, gently, because the lives at the center of it were real. And the damage was permanent. I can still see the screen now. Stay tuned for next Sunday to hear the continuation of Nia's story, because what unfolded next went deeper, darker, and closer to home than any of us were prepared for. If this story spoke to you, if you've ever loved someone whose life is lived under the lights while your struggles stay in the shadows, know that you're not alone, and your story matters too. To hear more stories from women loving, living with, and sometimes walking away from their gladiators, make sure you follow the show and share this episode with someone who needs it. This has been Married to a Gladiator, where we honor the hearts behind the helmets and the women who choose themselves without choosing against love. Until next time, keep writing your own playbook.